Hi, and welcome to another Average Joe Hockey Report. In today's video, we're going to go over why I think advanced stats don't always tell the tale when it comes to players. While I like advanced statistics and analytics, and it could be a good measuring curve to determine a player, it doesn't always tell the tale. Sometimes a player's puck possession stats suffer due to another player's analytics or the other way around, or sometimes they lack on one team and improve on another. I'll give you three examples as to why I think they don't tell the tale, but before we go through them, just going to explain a few puck possession statistics. You've got Corsi for, which is shot attempts for versus shot attempts against while on the ice, and Fenwick for, which is the same thing except shot blocks don't count. There's also Corsi relative. Corsi relative compares a player to his teammates. When you see the number of the relative Corsi column, it is a representation of how many shots were directed towards an opponent's net when the player is on the ice. If a player has a relative Corsi of minus 12, that means 12 more shots are directed towards his team's net per 60 minutes when he is on the ice as compared to when he is off it. I don't necessarily want to talk about that too much, however, and we'll only use it in example 3. Anyways, example number 1. In his last season with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2014-2015 season, Phil Kessel posted a Corsi for and Fenwick for of 46%. While it did lead to a drop in production from the season before, which was 61 points compared to 80 in the previous season, the Maple Leafs environment wasn't a great environment, with Kessel being pressured by the media to be the man. It also didn't help that his defensive zone starts would always be near 50%, which is confusing considering that Kessel has never been a defensive specialist. The following season, he was traded to Pittsburgh and things completely changed. His advanced stats were better than the last 3 seasons in Toronto, although his advanced stats in Pittsburgh were up and down, and his defensive zone starts diminished big time. I don't necessarily understand why even Arizona understood not to start Kessel in the defensive zone as much as possible, unlike Toronto did. Bottom line, Kessel's advanced stats in Toronto was not an indication of the player he was, as much as it was more of an indication of being set up for failure by his team. One could also say that he was asked to do too much for the Leafs. Example number 2. When Neil Pionk was traded to Winnipeg, along with New York Rangers' first-round pick, the pick being Ville Heinola, it was met with mixed reactions. Some fans were happy about it because it's a defenseman who put up 26 points in 73 games with the Rangers. Others were not happy because he had a terrible advanced stats and 14 of his 26 points were on the power play, and who knows if he was going to get that power play time, and his Corsi and Fenwick for was both 44%. I was on the side of the naysayers when it came to Pionk because the facts pointed towards negative critics, and even thought that Pionk was going to be the biggest bust in regards to off-season acquisitions. While there are important questions that needed to be asked about Pionk's past 2 seasons, I couldn't have been any more wrong about Pionk. While Pionk benefited from Dustin Byfuglien being unable to play for the Jets this past season, and one could ask how Pionk would have fared if Byfuglien did play, Pionk notched a career-high 6 goals, although he had 6 goals the previous season, and a career-high 39 assists and 45 points, and had more even strength points than he had power play points in the previous season. His Corsi for and Fenwick for also improved, with a Corsi for of 51% and a Fenwick for of 50%. Now, what I'm curious about... Oh, what the heck? Hold on. Sorry, I was just trying to scroll down my WordPad down. Now, what I'm curious about with those stats is who he was paired with. After looking up the 2018-2019 New York Rangers roster, it appears that only Kevin Shattenkirk was the only defenseman who posted good advanced stats in that season. There were times where apparently Pionk was paired with Mark Stahl, who is probably one of the worst defensemen in regards to analytics, and is not suited for modern day hockey and is a third D pairing at best. And the best he can do is just provide leadership and experience and whatever. Apparently Pionk was also paired with other defensemen, but nobody besides Shattenkirk had good advanced stats on the Rangers' blue line that season, meaning that Pionk and the rest of the Rangers defensemen struggled. Now with the Jets, when Heinola got his 8-game stint in the NHL, Pionk was his partner. And they did good, I would like to say. Heinola was eventually sent back to his junior team, meaning I'm guessing that he had time on the top pairing with Josh Morrissey. I'm not entirely sure. Bottom line is, who you are paired with can absolutely be a factor when it comes to advanced stats. Especially in the example number 3 that I'm about to say. Here's example number 3. Now don't get me wrong, I like defenseman Brendan Dillon. I think he's a good two-way defenseman that gets the job done, and his advanced stats have always been decent. I just want to talk about his season with the San Jose Sharks in 2018-2019. That season, he had a few career highs. He had 1 goal, although that's not a career high. He had more goals the previous season, and a career high 21 assists, tying his highest point total of 22 points, and also had a career high plus 19, although I don't care for plus minus, and a career high Corsi for and Fenwick for 57%. Impressive numbers to say the least. However, I looked up on a website called Daily Faceoff to see who he was paired with, and while he definitely complements his partner with his solid play, his partner that season was Erik Karlsson. Karlsson is a puck possession god. His Corsi and Fenwick for that season was 59%. His relative Corsi was trending real high, even in his last season in Ottawa, where they were pretty bad. And I believe his Corsi, or his relative Corsi was like +7 or something. That's how good Erik Karlsson was before his health problems would occur. Even then, he still notched 40 points in the last 2 seasons. Bottom line, I like Brendan Dillon, and he complimented Karlsson with his play that season, and he can complement John Carlson in Washington. But his advanced stats were inflated by Erik Karlsson. This video is based on opinion, doesn't necessarily have to be used as a measuring point to determine players, and I may have had points that I missed and made some errors. So remember, if I'm wrong, don't belittle me, educate me. Take care, everyone, and follow my Instagram page, Average Joe Hockey Report, and my YouTube page, Marty Tommy.